As Robert Kennedy Jr. describes, British Columbia is home to the planet's last large expanse of coastal temperate rainforests. The forest's rugged beauty, tremendous biological diversity, and vast unspoiled range set it apart as one of nature's great masterpieces. This forest, rich with a diverse ecosystem, supporting salmon and grizzly bears, thousands of inlets and fjords, waterfalls and rivers, islands and beaches, has recently been given the name Great Bear Rainforest.
This vast region looks pristine, although its wood has been harvested for thousands of years. The ancient forest use was very different from the clear-cut logging that is rapidly transforming the region today. The traces of use by Aboriginal methods are visible only to the archaeologically trained eye. One thing, however, is clearly apparent to anyone. This was sustainable use. The forest today is still vibrant with healthy, ancient trees, is carpeted in a canopy of rich undergrowth, and is streaked with streams that run clear with pure water.
We visited an area of the Great Bear Rainforest called Roscoe Inlet, the homeland of the Heiltsuk First Nation tribe. According to the elders, and supported by archaeological evidence, the Roscoe Inlet and surrounding area was inhabited by thousands of people who thrived by making use of local resources. Salmon provided them with staple food, cedars were used for clothes, housing, and transportation. The forest products were harvested in a unique way that left the trees from which the material was taken alive. The key to understanding this type of forestry is found in living culturally modified trees, or CMTs. Culturally modified trees not only hold the secrets to understanding traditional native culture, but also to how our forests can be used sustainably in the future.
Clear-cutting the culturally modified trees will also erase the proof of traditional use and occupancy of the land by the First Nations, weakening their land claims and their case for a just treaty. The Heiltsuk understand this and are developing their own inventory techniques and manuals for identifying and cataloging culturally modified trees. They wish to conduct a thorough study of traditional forest use in all their tribal lands. Because the cedars live so long, the evidence dates back hundreds of years. In the giant 1,000-year-old trees, obvious markings still exist in the bark, but are difficult to interpret. In many cases, the scars have completely healed over, leaving only internal evidence.
We're standing in a grove, which is a special management zone to protect culturally modified trees. We've identified 3 culturally modified trees here, 2 of which remain standing, and this one, which blew over after the area was left intact. And it appears to contain 2 cultural scars. This one in here is a taper peel slit scar. The base was about here. And you can see the amount of healing is quite extensive. I barely get my hand into the original scar face. And it ran up this side of the tree. It's been a little obscured by later debris. Then around this healing flange here is another scar face, which runs up about 16 feet, from which bark had been removed by someone quite a few years ago. There's this much healing. I don't know if you can see that, but down here, you can see the amount of healing since the scar was made.
The art and science of understanding the significance of culturally modified trees is only in its infancy.
In the late summer of 1998, Western Canada Wilderness Committee held a 3-day workshop on culturally modified trees. Anthropologist David Garrick, who has intensively studied culturally modified trees on Hansen Island to the south, shared his knowledge and learned from experienced Heiltsuk researchers. They discovered that logging companies, aware of the significance of culturally modified trees, have been performing studies of their own, working with native Indians. However, these studies are rushed with the main purpose of preparing the areas in question for clear-cut logging.
Some token special management areas have been established, where tiny groves of culturally modified trees are left standing in the middle of a clear-cut area. Clearly, there is much work to be done.
This is a culturally modified tree that was supposedly protected and blew over as a result of not enough buffer zone really being left around the CMTs to really protect them.
Culturally modified trees just might provide us with the insight into how to live in harmony with our land. Forest use in ancient time was intense, but gentle on nature and surrounding wildlife. If you are lucky, next time you visit an old-growth forest, you may see some. Culturally modified trees will unlock important secrets about wilderness maintenance and support the survival of First Nations traditions. Western Canada Wilderness Committee is continuing to assist in the discovery and understanding of culturally modified trees and sustainable Aboriginal forestry practices.